Today we're going to check out this 1970 Camaro. It's got Super Sport stripes and Super Sport emblems on it. This is what I'd classify as a great driver condition cruise night car. Kind of still a project car though. It does need a paint job. If you look at it, paint looks good at 30 foot. You get up close, you can tell it's got a lot of imperfections in the paint. As we look at the front grille looks great. Front bumper looks nice. SS emblem, eyebrow trim and stuff looks good. It's a great looking car. This car has a good stance too. Previous owner of this car installed this 400 small block. He said it was completely rebuilt. I do not have any receipts or information as far as on the build of the mechanics of this car, but you can tell he put a brand new polished aluminum radiator in it. It's got all new chrome alternator, chrome power steering pump, pulleys, water pump, ceramic headers. 400 is supposedly overhauled. It's got a Holley carburetor, Eldebrock intake. It does have power disc brakes, and it does have four-wheel disc brakes. The brake pedal is a little soft on it though, so it might need a little adjusting on the brakes, but it's got four-wheel disc brakes on it. So previous owner also said he did put new leaf springs on the back as well. So he did some suspension work on it. This basically made this 1970 Camaro to where you could kind of jump in and drive it and have some fun. When it came into our dealership, we pulled the seats out, we installed brand new carpet in it, just re-dyed some of the door panels and cleaned that stuff up, and installed new front seat belts in it too. So just a great looking cruise night car, but if you get on top of it, you can tell it needs a paint job. Motor really sounds good. This car is really healthy too. I mean, it really gets with the program. The top of the fender lines up beautifully with the top of the hood. We have a lot of little paint scratches here. Like I said, guys, I will not be able to point out every imperfection in this car. It's got a lot of them. But here's paint imperfections here, a couple little chips in the corner, stuff like that. Same thing along the front edge. .30-foot paint job on it. It's a dark green metallic. You know, it probably looked really good when it was done. It's just got a lot of little paint cracks and a lot of paint chips on it now. Tires are raised white leather tires. Tread is decent. They're 235/60s. Lower front fender seems very solid. We got a tiny little blister down here at the bottom, very small. Your door gap's nice and even. It's just a little bit bigger on the top than it is on the bottom, but it's not touching anywhere. But we do have quite a few chips along the edge of the gap. Rocker panel is super solid on the passenger side, but above the rocker panel on this lower dog leg, we have some blisters and some rust right here in this area. A couple tiny little paint imperfections in the bottom of the door as well. As we come up here, the roof looks excellent. I mean, you can see, I don't know if you get a good glimpse of it, but the dark green metallic paint at one time looked fantastic. It still has a good shine to it. It's just that there's some imperfections now. As we look across the roof, pretty straight roof. We got a couple little dings up here to the front, very small. We got a little paint crack here, scratch here, another scratch. Whoever did it couldn't get the window trim right, or didn't have the right clips, so they siliconed around the back glass. It's definitely not something to do, but so this trim will need to be, during the restoration, this trim will need to be taken off and redone. We look up and down the side. It's a decently straight car. I mean, you can tell it hasn't been wet sanded and buffed, so it's got a little choppiness in the paint. It's a great beginner car that a lot of the mechanic stuff is done. Back bumper looks good, but again, it's the original. So if you look up close, it's got a lot of those little specks in it. Taillight, chrome and taillight lenses are beautiful on it. It's got the rear spoiler on it. It does have some little bubbles and blisters starting on this back quarter, right back up in here. Open up the passenger door. The door corner looks pretty good. Looks like it's got just a little bit of seam seal work, but not a lot. Door panel looks great. Dash pad looks good. It's got just a little curl up right here, which all the Camaros do, but really not bad at all. I definitely wouldn't change it. It's got the correct steering wheel on it. No radio, but does have aftermarket gauges in it. Carries great oil pressure. Scuff plates look good. Carpet looks good. Bucket seats are in good shape, guys. The headrest is cracked up there. It will need a headliner. It's got a new dome light cover, but the headliner's got a couple splits in it. It's original headliner. It does have seat belts in the back. It's got new seat belts in the front. All the back plastic door panels, front door panels, and all these little pillar pieces and stuff. We kick panels, everything we took out when we did the carpet, re-dyed everything black, and then put it back together. So really, in all honesty, besides the headliner, the interior is very presentable. Door shuts good. Inside the trunk, we did order a new mat, put a new mat in there. The exhaust comes out by the tailpipe, so it's a little loud, but some people like that sound and that feel of the car. As far as the rear quarter behind the wheel on the driver's side, that looks super solid, nice. Over the wheel well is excellent, and in front of the dog leg is perfect. There's no bubbles or blisters up here. So passenger side has some rust right here, driver's side does not. So also on this quarter panel, it's really good up in here. We do have, this is your factory seam line right up in here. You can see just a little bit of bubbling under the paint. It's not cracked out, but you can just see it and feel it a little bit there. Rocker panel is excellent. Lower fender. Lower fender has some little tiny little bubbles in there. Not a lot of rust that I can see, but there is a few little tiny little bubbles. Front fender paint looks good, except for we got a long scratch starting here. It's right there. A couple more little scratches in here. Door handle works good. Again, driver's side door panel, excellent condition. It's all re-dyed. The armrest and stuff's nice. Cranks and stuff are good. Seats are good, guys. I wouldn't replace the seats at all. We got that little rip on the headliner in the headliner also, but on the headrest. Other than that, seats are good. The odometer shows 50,810. I'm sure that's been around the block a couple times. Wipers do work. Horn does not work. Gas gauge works. This was an automatic car. Now has a 4-speed and a nice Hurst shifter in it. Temp gauge works. Oil pressure's at 50 pounds and it's been running here for quite a while. Amp gauge is not hooked up, guys. This car sounds nice and healthy. One other thing, guys, the e-brake does work. And it's kind of loud, so I can't tell if the heater fan is working, guys. Not sure on that. But it's all complete and they all slide easy. But the wipers work. We put a new speedometer cable in it. That works, and the gas gauge works. Again, brakes are 4-wheel disc brakes, power disc brakes. It's just got a harder pedal. I'm not sure. Maybe with the cam that it's got in it, it's possible that there's just not a lot of vacuum to that booster. Surprisingly enough, though, you know, I would definitely finish out the tailpipes, quiet the exhaust down a little bit, but that's just my taste. But the suspension feels really good. The car goes nice down the road, nice and straight. Steering seems nice and tight. It's not all over the place. And with your disc brakes, I mean, there's absolutely no pull, obviously. It's just, we just have kind of a hard pedal. Transmission shifts great, goes down the road fantastic, speedometer works with the new cable in it. Get a little cackle, it's got kind of straight pipes on it, I think. But as far as the steering goes, going down the road, it's nice and tight. Accelerates nice. Carburetor seems awesome in it. Just needs the exhaust finished and a little bit of brake work. We're going to price this car at $14,995, which I think is an awesome deal if a guy wants to do just a few things himself and have a cool cruiser.